Well, hello there and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I'm going to the dark side. I'm going to rewire a Vespa stator because the wiring is in a shocking state. I don't know why they use this soft covering on the wires on the Vespa. They just rot away. Awful. So it looks like this must be quite a common job on Vespas. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Right, the first thing we've got to do is remove all the old wiring. So we're going to get the soldering iron out, we're going to heat it up, get it nice and hot, and disconnect all the old wires. Right, well this has been so oily and hot that it's very difficult now to make out what colour's what. So first of all we're going to just strip this back. So we'll cut this off. And then we'll strip back this hard plastic shit, and it is hard. And we might be able to find some colour on things underneath here. Okay, well it's been very baked indeed, because how this was running I do not know. Look at that. I mean, come on. Oh dear. But I'm thinking that is actually white, so that could have been white as well, but they've just gone a funny colour. Red, white, green, stay over there, and these ones over here, baby. Okay, so here is our wiring. Okay, so what I've doubled back the colour, because obviously we can now see what colour it is, because there was no sign of the colour anymore. So the black ones that go out into earth, we can see they're earth anyway, but it's just to make it easier. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a photograph of these now. We've got the positions and the colours, so now we can proceed to dismantle all of this wiring. Okay, I had to get the more powerful soldering iron on the go there. We managed to get them off nice and cleanly. So now we need to look for some nice new clean wire, and then clean up those solder points as well. Right, I'm going to do the ignition side of the wiring first, because that's the easiest. So first of all we're going to get a bit of flux on here, dab a little bit on our cable, and then we will tin up our wiring. So we first get the wires to have a nice little coating of solder. All the way around. Okay, one. 2. So we'll get a little bit of flux on there. Then we'll heat up the earth first, because that's the biggest volume. And then on with our white cable. And that's it, it's on. Okay, first one on, green wire. Which goes on here. I'll just snip that down because we don't need all that. That goes through. That's nice. Okay. Now our pickup cable. So we'll snip this baby down as well. It's about the right same amount. Bit more solder. Okay. So now this one goes through here on the pickup coil. So we're just going to feed it through the hole once we get the hole hot enough. And that's it, it's in. Beautiful, straight in. No problem. So that's them 3 done. Now we'll proceed on to the other cables. I'm going to have to look at my camera now to see where they got to go. Okay, as far as I can make out this off my phone picture, that this one is brown. So we're going to feed this one in now. Check, yep, that's nicely on. Okay, that one's done. Now on to the next one. Good. For a quick check, yes, that's nicely soldered. Right, I've got all my wires on now, so now I've got to feed them through underneath how they were before and try and make them as tidy as possible. So I'm not going to bore you with that bit. I'll show you what I've done by the end of it. Okay, what we're going to do now is we've got the cables all through nice and neatly. We're now going to put some heat shrink on. The cables, unfortunately the heat shrink I've got ain't going to allow this amount of cables through in one go, so I'm going to have to split them into 2 and then put them together. So that's be the first lot. Hopefully I can get this through. Come on, come on baby. Sleeve in now. So, oh, it's going much better. Oh yes. Look at that. You beauty. You little beauty. And there we go. That'll do nicely, my son. Hey, victory! Right, as we're going through this build, we need to try and save the original plug. So, we need to be able to extract these little plugs out to the inside of the original plug, and we're going to reuse them, rebuild the plug, and that means it'll all plug back in originally without having to buy any specific part, you see. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So what we need to do, there's a little tab here that sticks up. Once it pushes into the plug, This tab is what holds it in place. So you need to push in, push the tab down, and then release. So we're going to try and do that now. We've already taken one out. Okay, so far so good. So what we're going to do now is, we're going to put a piece of heat shrink on there. Then we're going to grab our connection, and we're going to flow the solder together on this connection. Okay, we've got a better soldering iron on the job now, and I've managed to solder that together. So it's going to make it a bit easier for us. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to pull the heat shrink over to there, and then we're going to heat it up with the hot air gun. And Bob's your uncle. It's done. Okay. So that one now can be repositioned back in. So what we're going to have to do is, it's probably a bit hot at the moment, but we've got to bend this clip back up first. So bend the little tab back up like that. So now that'll latch back into the plug, and simply snap it back in the plug, and that's it, it's in. So that one's done, and we'll move on to the next one, which is going to be our red wire. Okay, so all we've got left now, this plug's now finished, all back on, good as new. We're going to do the ignition side now, connections. So we're going to, what I like to do every time I'm putting connections on, no matter where they are, I like to tin them up before I squash any connections on, because that gives you a much better key on the connection, and it never pulls off. If you've got some, just tin it up with some solder, don't need much on your connection, and that solder being on that wire really helps you to make a good connection. So what we've tinned up the end of that. We've got our connectors here. I like to slide on a little bit of heat shrink there, fit my connector, it's gone too far, crimp it, then slide our heat shrink up there, and that will just give the cable a bit of strength and protection. And there we are, nicely connected. On to the next one. Now I haven't shrinked them all the way back to here, because I want to see the colours when I want to see some part of my colour when I go to put the connections on, so I can just see white, red, green, and it's that's it. This stator plate is now renovated, except for one thing. We're now going to add some protection onto our solder points. Okay, this is the final operation now. What we've got is, I've got a 2-component resin here, epoxy stuff, with a blue dye in it. So I'll use that, because you can get the proper stuff, but this works fine. You can make it out of arrow dye and a bit of blue dye, or any colour you want really. And then I'm going to apply it to the soldered joints to stop any cracking due to vibration. So let's zoom in and have a look a bit closer. So wherever I've soldered anything in, I'll apply this to the joint, and over onto the cable a little bit to stop cracking from vibration. So we've got a little bit on that side, a little bit on that side. And Mr. Andy Tams, he does a lot of this kind of work all the time. I only do it when it's necessary, when I really need to. So it's not my everyday job. But as you can see, it's quite straightforward. This is important. It stops fractures and increases reliability of your engine, because you've got less problems with wires breaking and cracking due to vibration and then leaving you on the side of the road. There you go. So there you go. And we'll put a little bit on the earth as well. And that's almost it. Job done. And that's my phone ringing. Yeah, mate, what's up? Where are you? You think you're outside my front door?